Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So do you know how to navigate your way successfully through town without having to worry about danger? Because we live in dangerous times. And downtown sections, shopping districts, restaurant areas, nightlife areas with bars and clubs, those areas could be subject to shootings, riots, all kinds of various robbery and violent crimes. We're living in dangerous times. They're defunding police, so there may not be as many beat cops roaming around, which brings out criminals. It makes them more emboldened to commit their crimes in areas that they might not otherwise go. And people that are out there committing robberies or accosting people or whatever, they're doing it in areas where there's money, where there's ATM machines, where there's stores. Wherever there's businesses, people are spending money, and that money's coming out of people's pockets. Homeless people are committing a lot of crimes. A lot of homeless people used to just be bums, drug addicts and winos. Now there's just so much mental illness out in the streets, and there's so many homeless people in every city. You really have to be aware. You have to be able to navigate like a warrior through a battlefield. And you don't want to let any of this kind of stuff ruin your good time. You have a right to go wherever you want to go. But you have to be smart enough, streetwise enough, to be able to get through successfully. So what I've always done and what I do is when I'm walking down the street, whether it's at night or in the daytime, whether it's crowded or empty, is I'm always walking with a positive dominant posture, which is to have my shoulders down and back, my chest out, my head up, and I'm scanning with a wide spectrum view. I'm scanning everything. And what I do is I take in all the information. So even if it's a busy street and you're in downtown Manhattan and there's 10,000 people on a street corner, there's another 10,000 people on the other side of the street, it's just busy, cars everywhere, you can still have that wide spectrum view. And as you scan, everything that gets taken in is part of your field of vision. And what you do is you single out the outliers. You look at the weird things. There's only going to be a handful, wherever you're at, of weird things. Might be a weird guy over there. Might be some bums on the corner over there. Might be some thugs hanging out down that way. You want to just take a look at everything that you see. Okay, there's a guy that looks like he's asking for cigarettes up there. We're walking in his direction. I bet you he's going to ask us. You want to just be aware of all the little things that are going on around you. And this gives you the ability to act. And as long as you're looking forward enough, when I'm walking with somebody else and navigating through a city, I'm not looking at them. We can have our conversation and walk next to each other. I'm looking around. We could be holding hands, we could whatever, but I'm looking around as I'm talking to them and scanning. You can carry a gun. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro gun. You can carry your gun in 35 or 37 states, concealed weapons permit in this country, but that's not always going to help you. That's not always going to save you. And you don't want to pull that out. You don't want to. Trust me, you don't want to. If you end up shooting somebody, even if you're the hero, you're going to spend 6 months in jail as your court case goes on. You're going to need to get lawyers. You're going to need to explain to a judge and a jury of how that you were just protecting yourself. It's not like the cops are going to show up where there's dead bodies on the ground that you just laid them out, and they're going to shake your hand, give you a medal, and say, well, you're a hero. You just protected everybody. They're going to treat you like a criminal. That's reality. So you want to be able to navigate without having shit like that happen. And that wide spectrum view with looking for the weird things that stand out and identifying a threat level for each one. You can do this in a bar, in a party, or in a stadium. Doesn't matter where you are, on a street corner, anywhere, in a restaurant, anywhere. You can use the same tactic. Size people up. And it doesn't mean that you have to avoid anything. You just now know. You know what you're getting yourself into, and that's half the battle. You don't want to be caught off guard. You don't want to be caught by surprise. If you're sitting outside at a venue eating with your family or your wife or whoever, your significant other, some friends, a lot of people are sitting outside nowadays because of the virus. They don't want to sit inside. And you see a group of people coming down the streets that might look like Antifa or Black Lives Matter, and you can see them coming because you're looking down the streets. Keep an eye out. Don't just be with blinders on. Be looking around. You know that it's time for you to maybe get up and go inside the restaurant. You know it's time for both of you at the table to prepare for this group. You've seen the videos. Maybe you haven't, but there's videos of people getting accosted just while they're simply eating at an outside cafe by these political action mobs. You can see that stuff coming. It doesn't have to catch you by surprise. But you have to be constantly aware. It means you have to be able to have a dual attention span. Focusing on what's going on with with the people that you're with, but also in protection mode, in warrior mode. I'll tell you a quick story where I had to do this myself. I was with my girlfriend at the time. We're no longer going out, but we were at the time. And we were in San Francisco on a vacation, just having fun. And we went many areas, but we ended up, it was probably 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. The sun was going down. It was just getting to be twilight, getting to be nighttime. And we're walking down Haight Street. We had just been in Golden Gate Park. And Golden Gate Park's a great park. We went to the Steinhardt Aquarium and all kinds of stuff in there to do. And we're walking down Haight Street, which is a big shopping area where all the hippies used to be in the 60s. Very funky area. And the first thing I noticed is there's tons of homeless people everywhere. Tons of them. And most of them are begging. So, since usually I would walk on the outside, where I walk on the curb and the girl walks on the inside. Because that's a safer way to walk. And if somebody's going to run by you, they're going to and take a purse off of somebody, they're typically going to do it on the outside. And that's just been an age-old thing. The man walks on the outside. But I noticed all the bums were hanging by the storefronts on the inside of the street. So I put her on the curb. They can ask me. I don't want them asking her. Each bum that we walk by, and it's hard to avoid them, they can fuck with me, not her. So that was the first thing I did. And even though I had the annoyance of every 10 fucking steps, some bum being like, oh, can you spare a dime? And I gotta be like, give him a mean look. She didn't notice any of it. Thank God. Because I want her to have a good time. And I can have a dual attention span and be the protector. We're walking down Haight Street. We get towards Haight and Cole, the intersection of Haight and Cole Street. Down several blocks from the park. The Golden Gate Park's on one side of Haight. We're walking away from the park. And it's still, shopping area, all kinds of people. Despite the homelessness, it's somewhat of a safe area. But I noticed that there was 3 black gang members on the street corner right on Cole, just hanging out. Now, they didn't look like they were bothering anybody. Pedestrians were walking by, and they didn't look like they were bothering anybody. But again, like I said, I'm walking around scanning. I got my wide spectrum view, and anything that comes into that view, any weird outliers, anything that just looks unusual, any threats, I identify the threat and I assign a value to it, a threat level value to it. I'm doing my threat assessment. So I see those guys. That's the first thing I notice. Okay, gang members on the corner. I don't think they're going to fuck with us, but I notice them. It's important to notice everything. The stuff you don't notice could be the dangers. So you want to be able to notice everything, and it's good practice. I've been practicing this stuff since I was a kid, so I'm really good at it. There's restaurants, little tiny boutique restaurants, cafes, and these little restaurants on the one side of the street that we're walking, and on the other side too. But just as we get halfway down the block, maybe 20 yards or so away from the corner of Haight and Cole, this car, this gray sedan, comes barreling down the hill and takes a screeching turn across traffic towards the corner. My girlfriend was just paying attention to the various stores. There's lots of noise and cars, so if you weren't really paying attention to that, you might not have seen it, and it just looked like just a bad driver. We're in a big city. There's all kinds of bad drivers. You hear horns honking, you hear, sirens going. There's noises. So if you're not paying attention, if you're not focused on what's going on, if you're not have a heightened sense of awareness, why would it even matter? So you hear some tires screech, so what? But those tires screeching caught my eye, and the relative distance to those gang members, those black gang members hanging out in the corner. And I noticed the car right away. The driver, I could see two passengers. Two people in it. I didn't see the passenger. All I could see was the driver, and the driver looked Mexican. And their headlights were off. With all of that information put together, I said, okay, I gotta make a fucking quick decision here. Something is about to go down. This shit's about to go down. I gotta get the fuck off this street. We're right here. We're right next to this shit. This is about to get real bad. I gotta get out of here. So I see, we're standing right in front of this doorway to a restaurant. I don't know what it was, what kind of restaurant it was, how expensive, if I like the food, I don't know anything about it. And I grab her by the arm and pull her rather aggressively into the restaurant. And she was kind of annoyed with me, because we didn't talk about dinner yet. We didn't agree on where we were gonna go. We were just walking and shopping and having a great time. And then all of a sudden, I got all of a sudden get all aggressive and yank her inside some doorway. And she's just like, what? We get inside the door, and she was like, why do you wanna eat here? And she was being a little bit combative. I'm just trying to save our lives. We get inside the door. The door shuts, it's a big glass door. Just as soon as the door shuts, we hear the shots. Pop, 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 pop. Fucking drive-by shooting on those guys, on those gang members. That's what that was. It was a drive-by shooting right in front of us. The waiter who was closest to the table heard the shots also. He comes and looks out the window, and he recognizes right away that this is a crime had just happened, that a murder had just happened. And he locks the door and tells us, you guys can't leave. You're gonna have to stay here. So you can sit at the bar, have some drinks, or you can sit down at a table, order some food, but we're gonna be on lockdown until the police come and deal with this. So we took a table and sat down, and she apologized for being bitchy, and we had a good laugh about it. She thanked me later that night when we were in the hotel, and she was just like, you saved my life. We could have just easily kept walking another 20 yards, 15 yards, and been in the line of fire. Fuck, do you think that those Mexican gangbangers were sharpshooters? Do you think they've been going to the shooting range all the time? These guys would probably have their fucking Glocks pointed to the side like idiot rap stars and just shooting at anybody. We would have been victims of a shooting. We both could have gotten killed. But instead it was really nothing. It was just a fun time in San Francisco. And all it took was just a little bit of wide spectrum view, a little bit of instinct, and a heightened awareness to notice the odd things that were in that picture. So you gotta learn how to navigate in this day and age, man. You gotta learn how to walk these streets. You don't wanna be hiding from anything. You should be able to go anywhere you want, anytime you want. But in order to do that, in order to feel safe, in order to keep the people safe around you, you're gonna just have to have some basic street smarts. Some warrior vision, that's what I like to call it, because you're walking around like a warrior. Be safe. Thanks for watching.